So we have bare quorum here.
Just what we need. Good evening, everyone. It is Tuesday, June 3rd. It is 7:30 p.m., and I'm going to call this meeting to order. We're going to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, then we're going to remain standing as we hear words of inspiration from Pastor Joel Brandt from Spirit of Christ Lutheran Church.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Pastor Brandt?
Thank you, Mayor. On behalf of Spirit of Christ Church and on behalf of our citizens, thank you for your work. I see agendas these weeks filled with concerns for good government, a master plan for the city, issues about the library, public works, infrastructure, whole calendar of events rich in civic life this summer. Last week was Memorial Day, 4th of July just a month away, even the big garage sale in Clawson this week. Tonight, you also honor a public safety officer and you lift up awareness about gun safety in our communities. So once again, thank you, and may I offer this prayer for you and for Clawson. Lord of love, creator of the universe, bless these public servants gathered here tonight, that they do their work in a spirit of wisdom and charity and justice. Help them use their authority to serve faithfully. And Lord God, uphold them when that work is difficult or contentious. Use us as citizens to support and honor them for their work's sake. Make the diverse fabric of our city a delight to all who live and work and visit here, and a strong bond uniting people around common goals for the good of all. Grant us grace to work for a city where neighborhoods remain vibrant and whole, where the lost or the forgotten in society are supported, and where neighbors care for neighbors. Bless our schools and our graduates this week. Guide and protect all who work in public safety. Grant us a civic life rich in meaning, peaceful, and a blessing to all. We pray in your holy name. Amen.
Thank you. Don't go anywhere. I want to say, you all may be seated, thanks. I just want to give you an opportunity to share, if people are familiar with Spirit of Christ Lutheran Church, they're on 14 Mile Road.
Right.
They have a food pantry, and they do a lot of really wonderful things for our community. They're a great help to many of our seniors and others throughout. But you have an event coming up, and I see the sign outside, and I can't tell you what the date is. It's June 1 something.
19th, we've got some music on the lawn, some free food that evening, and some music. That's the Woodward Avenue Jazz Quintet. Thursday, June 19th. That
Wonderful.
evening.
Thank
Yeah.
you. I just wanted to give you an opportunity to let people know about that because you always have a lawn full when those things come.
Yes, we
So
do.
thank you for all that you do for our community
Thank
and
you
for
very
being
much.
with us here tonight.
Blessings to you.
Thank you. May we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Anderson. Here. Mayor Milan.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Moffett.
Present.
Councilmember Shepherd.
Councilmember Shepherd sends his regrets. He's not, he's a little under the weather, having a little difficult time speaking, so he's home hopefully getting well, and we will welcome him back as soon as he's well. So he will not be with us this evening. May I have someone make a motion for an approval of our agenda?
I move the agenda be approved as presented.
Support.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mayor Milan.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Moffett.
Yes.
Councilmember Shepherd. Or,
Yes.
as you were. Mayor.
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Wonderful. We've approved our agenda, and we will move to item number 6, which is public comment. If you would like to come and speak for items that are on the agenda, we say you are welcome to approach the microphone, and we'd appreciate it if you give your name and address. You will have 3 minutes to speak. The council and administration will not be engaging you directly. during your comments. This is a time for you to share with us. And then please feel free to approach staff or council after the meeting should you have something that you would like addressed. Is there anyone who would like to speak at this point for items that are not on our agenda? Are we asking you to come up to the podium, please?
Okay. My name is Stephanie Abel. My address is 29806 Woodward Avenue, Unit 26, Royal Oak, Michigan, 48037. I first want to read a police report and a text from a sister of mine. And then what I say is going to make sense why I'm mentioning it. Oh, you effing reach out to my husband one more time. I will make sure you are in jail. You are causing major problems. Bleep. Nothing was done about it with the police. She's been making death threats for at least 10 years now. This is a police report.
Excuse me, Stephanie,
Yeah.
I apologize for interrupting you, but right now, we are addressing items that are on our agenda.
I thought you said not on the agenda.
If I did, I apologize. I meant items that are on our
Okay,
agenda.
so, yeah, because you did tell me it's towards the end. That's why I
It's
was
at
a
the
little
end, yes.
confused.
Yeah, if you
Okay.
don't mind, we will be happy
Sure.
to listen
I'll
to you
wait.
at the end.
Thank you.
No problem. Does anyone have anything that is on our agenda that they'd like to address?
Hi, Jamie Gills, Takanochi. I wanted to talk about two things that are on the agenda tonight. The first is 9E, the authorized signatures for the new bank accounts. In the memo in the packet, Mark Pollock requested that the memo, that the ordinance establish a procedure for two signatures to be required. And in the motion, I just didn't see that that was part of the motion. So he asked, the motion will establish that a minimum of two signatures will be required to authorize all transactions conducted. That was in the packet from his memo. So I just wanted to bring that up so that when that comes up, perhaps we can modify that or talk about that. And then the other is 9H, the Councilman Bankowski's resignation. First, I just want to thank him for his work. Best of luck for him in the future as he moves on to the next stage. And the last part of the charter that you quoted in the packet says the city council shall, by ordinance or resolution, establish a procedure for filling vacancies. I looked for those ordinances. I know we've had 17 months to come up with ordinances for that since the charter passed. I could not find them. So I would very much appreciate if either you could point me in the right direction during that time and the rest of the citizens, or if there are no ordinances that we've written in 17 months that we've had to do, that you can tell us what process we will be using. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else for items on the agenda? Okay, not seeing anyone come forward. We'll move on to item number 7, which is proclamations and presentations. We have a very proud moment for Clausen. I love when these days happen. We have an introduction and ceremonial swearing in of Patrol Officer Thomas Leda.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Council. Chief Bouse with Clausen PD, and it is my honor to be here today in front of you to introduce to you Clausen PD's newest officer, Officer Tom Lada. Actually, am I saying that correctly, or did she?
You're fine, yeah. Yeah.
I got it
I don't
wrong.
correct
It's
anybody.
okay.
It happens all the time.
Who knew?
All right. Well, so Tom graduated from Anchor Bay High School and has a bachelor's degree from Central Michigan University in Business Administration. He comes to us actually with over 22 years police experience. He began his career as a police officer with the Detroit Police Department in 2000 and spent the majority of his career with the Harper Woods Police Department. While with Harper Woods PD, he did a plethora of things. He was a member of the SWAT team for many years. He holds several certifications to instruct a variety of things with our police department. He was a field training officer and retired from there as a sergeant. So we are very honored that he's selecting Clawson PD to continue his career as a police officer. And most importantly, he is a proud husband and dad of 3 kids. So
Nice.
please join me today in welcoming Tom to Clawson PD.
Thank you, Chief.
Face me. Raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
Affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
Constitution of this state,
the Constitution of this state,
the Charter of the City of Clawson,
the Charter of the City of Clawson,
and I will faithfully perform the duties of patrol officer
and I will faithfully perform the duties of patrol officer
in and for the City of Clawson,
for the City of Clawson,
County of Oakland,
County of Oakland,
and State of Michigan,
State of Michigan,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Welcome. Thank you very much. Next, we have a proclamation declaring June 6, 2025 as Gun Violence Awareness Wear Orange Day. This is something that we have done for several years. And as you know, in this community, it's become closer and closer to each of our hearts, the importance of this proclamation and a commitment for all of us to try and do what's best for others sometimes. This proclamation declares the first Friday in June to National Gun Violence Awareness Day in the city of Clawson, to honor and remember all victims and survivors of gun violence, and to declare that we as a country must do more to end this public health crisis. Whereas every day, more than 120 Americans are killed by gun violence and more than 200 are shot and wounded, with an average of more than 17,000 gun homicides every year. And whereas Americans are 26 more times likely to die by gun homicide than people in other high-income countries. And whereas Michigan has 1,421 gun deaths every year, with a rate of 14.2 deaths per 100,000 people, a crisis that costs $16.8 billion each year, of which $380.5 million is paid by taxpayers, Michigan has the 27th highest rate of gun deaths in the U.S. And whereas gun homicides and assaults are concentrated in cities, with more than half of all firearm-related gun deaths in the nation occurring in 127 cities, and whereas cities across the nation, including Clawson, are working to end the senseless violence with evidence-based solutions. And whereas protecting public safety in the communities they serve is mayor's highest responsibility. And whereas support for the Second Amendment rights of law-abiding citizens goes hand in hand with keeping guns away from people with dangerous histories. And whereas mayors and law enforcement officers, in partnership with local violence intervention activists and resources, know their communities best, are the most familiar with local criminal activity and how to address it, and are best positioned to understand how to keep their citizens safe. And whereas gun violence prevention is more important than ever, as we see an increase in firearm homicides and non-fatal shootings across the country, increased calls to domestic violence hotlines, and an increase in city gun violence. Whereas in January 2013, Hadia Pendleton was tragically shot and killed at age 15. And on June 2nd, 2025, to recognize her 28th birthday, she was born June 2nd, 1997, people across the United States will recognize National Gun Violence Day and wear orange in tribute to Hadia Pendleton and other victims of gun violence and the loved ones of those victims. And whereas the idea was inspired by a group of Hadia's friends who asked their classmates to commemorate her life by wearing orange. They chose this color because hunters wear orange to announce themselves to other hunters when out in the woods. And orange is a color that symbolizes the value of human life. And whereas anyone can join the campaign by pledging to wear orange on June 6th, the first Friday in June in 2025, to help raise awareness about gun violence. And whereas by wearing orange on June 6, 2025, Americans will raise awareness about gun violence and honor the lives of gun violence victims and survivors. And whereas we renew our commitment to reduce gun violence and pledge to do all we can to keep firearms out of the wrong hands and encourage responsible gun ownership to help keep our families and our communities safe. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Mayor Milan of the City of Clawson, declare June 6, 2025 as National Gun Violence Awareness Day. I encourage all citizens to support their local community's efforts to prevent the tragic events of gun violence and to honor and value human lives. Thank you. Moving to our next item, we have a presentation from Consumers Energy on the 4 Cities Metro Pipeline. Good evening.
Good evening. I'm Terrence Daniels with Consumers Energy, and this is
Molly Delal.
Yep. And we both represent the project called the 4 Cities Pipeline that Consumers Energy is constructing. It's actually the replacement of an existing pipeline that already is in service but is due for retirement. So as part of that, you can see the agenda there. I'm going to go over the engineering asset planning portion of it, which is project scoping, and Molly's going to cover the permitting, the construction overview, the safety component, and some other items. And we have supporting slides to go along with that. So if at any time you have a question, feel free to stop me, because I'll keep going. So the general scope of this is it's an asset investment that Consumers Energy is making in the community. It's greater than $100 million, and it's across 4 cities. So Clawson is one of the fortunate cities that we're making an investment in, along with the city of Royal Oak, Madison Heights, and Warren. It also will cross several road commissions as well. But the schedule for this project, it's for construction is over 5 years. It's not all 5 years in Clawson, but there will be some years where it does impact Clawson. So with that also, the route is based on feedback from stakeholders. The key stakeholders are the cities and the Macomb County Road Commission and Oakland County Road Commission. And the project is scheduled to go over 5 years, and the scope was developed collaboratively. So we kind of came up with an initial run line, and we went to each of the cities to get feedback on what the concerns of each city was, and safety concerns as well, along with the engineering aspects of it. So a couple of key things that I would identify would be that in the terms of schools, the pipeline currently is on several different school properties. We're removing the pipeline from the school properties. So we're trying to be more so in the road right-of-way, and also taking into account traffic concerns, because as we all know, we went through I-75 modernization. We've had, I think 696 is under construction now. The public is very sensitive to construction concerns. So we're trying to make sure that our plan mitigates or minimizes the impact to the public. And with the work that we did this year, so far we've been batting 100 with that. And that's using safety devices like remote light signals, and also using, instead of closing down 4 roads at an intersection, we try to only partially close down 1 and keep the other main thoroughfare open. And then also, what's up on the screen right now is the route. So this pipeline's about 8 miles, and it starts at 14 in Coolidge and terminates at DeQuinder and 11 Mile Road. So you can see we kind of jog through some different communities, different neighborhoods, different main roads, and it was very challenging to get this route laid out. But we're very proud of the work that we did with the various communities to get to this point, so that everyone would be very comfortable with it and understand what the impact would be. I think we'll go to the next slide. Oh, that's the permitting piece. Oh, could we go back one? Perfect, thank you. And I'll hand off to Molly.
Yeah, thanks, Terrence. So I do just want to highlight a couple of things. Number one, we have been doing this year some proactive road crossing work ahead of some of city projects. So you may have seen some of our crews out. We were about a mile away over at Main Street at the intersection of Woodlawn and Lexington. So we just wrapped up a project there. We have one starting at Nakota and Crooks, that crossing. So a lot of this was feedback from cities that said, hey, we're doing these road projects, would you mind getting in front of this? So a lot of collaboration, which we want going forward in the future. If you look at the map here, the big impact year for the city of Clawson will be next year, so 2026. A couple of just the permits that we anticipate pursuing, so right of way, soil erosion and sediment control, and then potential to look at county drain, road commission, any MDOT permits, anything like that. We do have our permit contact for Oakland County listed. That is Lori Accavetti, so she will be communicating pretty frequently with the city of Clawson ahead of time, so we can identify those permits together. The next slide, you can see some of the photos here reflect some of the work that we have been doing. This project specifically was at Main Street and Lexington. So just what you guys can expect. So the field work, we'll start with utility locates. We'll do a lot of proactive work before we actually move in. We'll have some traffic control maintenance. You can see in that photo there, we used a temporary traffic control light, and that actually worked out really well. We got great feedback from the city of Royal Oak on that. You'll see larger diameter pipe than maybe what you're used to for Consumers Energy. This is, as was mentioned, a 24-inch line. So pretty large diameter, which also means larger equipment. We might be asking for a little bit more temporary workspace in those areas as well. We're looking at, through the neighborhoods, a combination of directional or conventional boring as well as open cut. So those will be the two methods. And then coming through afterwards will be a hard and soft surface restoration crews. So again, we like to work very closely ahead of time and proactively to make sure we understand all the requirements for restoration in whatever area we're working in. The next slide here just highlights our company's commitment to safety. So safety is always the #1 priority on all of our jobs. So everyone that's on our job has stop work authority. We're expecting anyone on our job to be wearing proper personal protective equipment, also that they're properly trained and qualified. And every morning we have job safety tailboards and stuff like that. So anything that we're asking, if it seems like more space than typical or traffic control plans are maybe 2 lanes when you think we would only need 1 lane, a lot of that is for safety considerations, and I'm utilizing Jersey barriers and stuff like that to keep all employees safe. The next one here is just our commitment. So you might see little flyers. We try and get those out also proactively. Our biggest commitment with you guys is just to be good neighbors as well, to leave it better than we found it. We want to, again, communicate clearly, which is why we want to have these ahead of time conversations to let you guys know what we're doing. And then any areas of environmental or local wildlife concerns, same thing. We do work very carefully to protect those considerations as well. And then we do have Lauren Royston here as well with our community affairs.
Hi, good evening. I'm Lauren Royston, Community Affairs Manager with Consumers Energy. And I just wanted to share that we are committed to communicating with the City of Clawson and engaging with the community. So we have committed to hosting various engagement events and outreach so that residents have an opportunity to learn what's happening in this project, talk to project team members and interface with our project team, just if they have questions. As she mentioned, trying to be proactive on our communication front, it helps helps make people feel more comfortable about the work that we're doing, ensuring the safety of, in the work that we're doing. We want to partner with the schools or community organizations. If there's any opportunity for us to partner and support activities or events that are along the pathway of the construction work. So if you have organizations, I heard the food pantry from the minister earlier today, so that may be an opportunity with that church and the food pantry. So just making sure that we emphasize how important we feel this investment that we're making and how we intend to stay open communicators, make sure your residents know what we're doing, and then answer any questions. So a lot of the communication, I know we mentioned the work at like Crooks and Nakota and Crooks. So we already, made sure we had a one-pager with information and sharing that with the city so that you all can put that on your communication channels as well, social media and website. So making sure that that opportunity stays available and as an option as we work through this project. So that's all I wanted to make sure I shared that. We have it as a collaborative part of the project, working with the community, working with your residents, and working with our project team to make it as seamless. We know that it's uncomfortable work. We know that it's disruptive work, but if everyone knows what's happening, it makes it a little more palatable and know that it's going to be a safe and needed project and major investment in your community.
Thank you.
Any other questions for us?
Does anyone have any questions?
I have questions, of course.
Okay, sure.
I always do. So I don't understand, are you gonna be like putting this pipeline under the road? Are you tearing up like the land between the road and the sidewalk? Or where exactly is it going? And it looks like you're going through a neighborhood, so there would be people, if it's road and side, whatever it is, people whose houses, they're not gonna be able to get in their driveways and that kind of stuff. Is that what's going on here?
It's all of the above, actually.
Okay.
And that's why we've been emphasizing the amount of collaboration that we're doing with the cities and the residents. So we want to make sure that as we're building the pipeline, that we accommodate the residents, the commercial businesses, to make sure the impact is minimized, because we value the business that they provide to the community, so we don't want to see them out of business. So what we do is try to provide temporary driveways, possible reroutes where possible. Also being very conscientious of where we place equipment in terms that we utilize for construction, so that we don't leave things as a hazard out there, or we try to avoid cutting off businesses altogether so that they can still get their customers in and out. Because people have their routines that they're accustomed to and everything. I mean, I know everybody usually has their favorite gas station or party store that they stop at on a daily basis. So we try to minimize the impact to that.
So it looks like for Clausen, though, you're mostly in the neighborhood, right?
Yes.
You're not cutting off businesses. And so if you tear up part of the road, then you guys replace the road.
Yes.
Winner, right? Just saying, right? And then, so it's just like if it happens to be on someone's side of the street, then there's accommodations with them being able to park in the street, and you engage our police departments and no one gets ticketed and all that kind of stuff, and there's advance notice,
Yes.
that kind of stuff. Okay.
So, because one of the things is we have to take, we have to take into consideration public safety response. So we'll work very closely with fire, any emergency like ambulance service or anything like that, to ensure that they can still get to people who need services. So that's part of our plan as well, because that's part of our safety strategy.
So when you start at one end, are you starting, say, here and you're ending here? Is it a continuous, or will you do some starting, stopping?
It's going to be some starting and stopping. The project is broken up based on, a lot of it is the road projects that individual cities have, or if they're planning a water main replacement. We've sequenced so that we're in the right place at the right time, so work isn't being done twice. Because one of the things that we learned in the past is if a road is resurfaced and you rip it up, it doesn't go well. And the cities typically doesn't even have to light into it. It's just the public coming at us.
Yeah.
So we found out that that's not fun for us, and it's not fun for you all either. So we often reach out and say, okay, what's the right sequence? If you're going to do a water main, is it right for us to come in first, do the water main, and then reconstruct the road? And then that way, hopefully for the next few years, no one's touching anything, and the residents can have a moment of peace and be able to just travel without any disruption to their routines.
What's the estimated, I know they're probably all different depending on what you find when you're there. What's the estimated time disruption, say, in a residential area? You got 3 houses you're working in front of. How quickly can you move past those 3 houses on to the next 3?
Can you answer that one?
Yeah, no, great question.
Thank
So, in the residential area specifically, and I did want to mention too, we have a full-time land agent on this, so we'll be proactively communicating, hey, we're coming this month, and then the week of, hey, we'll be blocking the driveway this day. I would say they would be blocked no more than 2 days.
Oh, awesome.
So, yeah, we're doing roughly 80 feet per day.
Okay. Do you have any questions?
You're pouring concrete though, right? Because some of these are under the concrete? Yes. All right, I imagine that'd be more than 2 days in some cases, if you can't drive a vehicle on it.
Right, so we'll, typically what we do after replacement is we'll have kind of crews working sequentially. So after the pipeline crew comes in, we'd have our backfill crew, they would come in, and it might just be compaction that day, sand backfill, we might gravel if it's a little bit longer, something so that they can drive on, and then again, our concrete would come in post. So,
That's my point. Once the concrete's poured, it'll be some time before they can drive on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what, about 7 days?
yeah,
Yeah.
cure time, we're seeing this
Yeah.
maybe 3 to 7 days.
Okay. And you're looking at mostly Nakota, I believe?
So the two main streets in Clawson would be Nakota and Washington. And
Okay.
the reason we picked those routes was to minimize service impact. And when I say service impact, I mean water, sanitary, everything. It's the routes that have the least amount of service leads.
Oh, okay. Well, I know that Nakota, the portion that goes from Crooks maybe to halfway across, there are no houses on Nakota. It's the end of a block. So that will be helpful in that respect. But once you get east, as you get closer to Maine, I'm not sure.
It's on the back of your sheet.
Yeah, but I'm talking the way the houses are laid out,
Oh, yeah.
so.
The other thing we tried to avoid is disrupting any of the parks in terms of physically within the boundaries of the parks. And that's one of the reasons why we're staying either under the road or in the green belt within the right of way.
Now, if you're under the road, if future maintenance has to be done, can you do that without tearing up pavement?
If, probably not. We'd probably have to remove a section of pavement, do the repair, and then replace equivalent to what was there before.
You're welcome to come up if you have comments and you'd like to, but you have to be at the mic so people at home can hear you. But we welcome you to come up to share some more information if you'd like.
I'm also part of Consumers Energy.
Yeah, I figured.
I just wanted to mention, part of the one thing I wanted to mention about that, because you were concerned about maintenance. This should be, I don't want to say maintenance-free by any means, but this pipeline is in a sense, a transmission pipeline carrying gas only. It is not servicing customers direct off this pipeline, so there's a lot less likely effects when it comes to maintenance or repairs or anything along those lines. So it should be minimized to a major extent. I can't say never, but, because I don't want to put that in anybody's head by any means, but.
But you mentioned it's a rather large pipe, 24 inches.
It is. But like I said, there's usually on a mains you're more used to, like a 6-inch or smaller that we serve our meters at the customer's residence. There's services running off of those to those customers' residents. With this 24-inch, that's not happening. It's to supply our communities with the major part of our gas to get to those distribution lines to serve the customers.
And just for clarity, Mark Kaczynski is our design team lead, so he's taking the lead on the actual drawing and design that's taking place and materials that are being accounted for.
And I'm sure you've worked with our engineers
Yes.
and our administration to pick a plan that works for us. Nick, do you have any input?
No, I was just going to say the consumers team has been very active in communicating with DPW. We've already had multiple site visits with staff, and so, just to echo everything they've shared, it's been very abundantly clear that communication is one of the key things for this project.
Great.
So it's replacing existing line. Where's the existing line that it's going to replace?
So that existing line currently is, it's hard to tell from on there, but it does cross the railroad tracks that are at 14 and Coolidge. And it does go down Nakota, but it takes the route down Delamere, down to, what's the other street?
It goes to the park.
Is it Normandy?
Part of it goes to the park.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you going to be removing that or leaving it be?
It's gonna be retired, so it'd be
So
retired in place.
what's that mean?
Retired in
It
place.
starts collecting.
Okay,
Social
retired in
Security.
play, okay. That's fine. So we can run remote control cars down it if we like. Okay.
But yeah, it'll be retired in place.
Great. Any other questions? No. Do you have anything else for us? No. Well, we thank you for your presentation. Thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, we'll move on to our next item, which is item 8A, which is consideration of approving the following consent agenda. Item number A is minutes. Item A, minutes of the regular city council meeting held on Tuesday, May 20th, 25, as presented. Item B, appointments of Trevor Zablocki as representative and Ryan McDonald as alternate to the Southeastern Oakland County Resource Recovery Authority for terms to expire June 30th, 2025. Appointments of Trevor Zablocki as representative and Ryan McDonald as alternate to the South Oakland County Water Authority for terms to expire June 30, 2025. A list of bills in the amount of $264,608.76. But I have a question. Is that date correct, 2025?
It is 2026.
Thank you. I figured it would be 26, but I thought we would ask, because I know we did this last year. So we'll make that note that it's 2026 and not 2025. Would someone like to make a motion with that date change?
I move the consent agenda be approved as modified.
Support.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Moffett,
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Mayor Milan.
Yes. Thank you. We've approved our consent agenda as modified. Moving on to item 9A, we have consideration of approving the adoption of the City of Clawson Master Plan update.
I move the City of Clawson Master Plan be adopted as presented.
Support.
We learned how to talk.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Madam Mayor. During the February 11th, 2025 Planning Commission meeting, the board forwarded the master plan to the City Council to authorize distribution of the plan for compliance with the required 63-day public hearing period. The public hearing period ended on May 16th, 2025. The city did not receive any comments regarding the proposed plan. Oakland County reviews all city master plan updates for compliance with neighboring jurisdictions. Oakland County reviewed our plan and determined the following. The Oakland County Coordinating Zoning Committee by a 3-0 vote endorses the Oakland County Economic Development, Planning, and Local Business Development staff review of the master plan update. The staff review finds the proposed master plan changes to be not inconsistent with adjacent communities of the city of Royal Oak and the city of Troy. The changes are viewed as acceptable to recommend approval of the plan to the city of Clawson. The report was attached. During the May 27, 2025 Planning Commission meeting, the master plan update was adopted by the commission and recommends that the city council adopts the plan as presented. Joining us today is Joe Tangari from Giffords Webster.
Good evening, Joe.
Good evening, everyone. Good to see you again. Yes, so the city last adopted a new master plan in 2018, and under the Planning Enabling Act, we are supposed to review our master plan every 5 years. And we do engage in a 5-year review at that interval. The last time we did that was a couple years ago, and it was decided to make some updates to the plan with some kind of specific focus areas. And that is what we are looking at tonight. The process started with some surveys, and there was a workshop early on in the process. The public engagement that we did is summarized in the plan. It's provided in full in the appendix to the plan. The focus areas of the plan there was an infrastructure component, so we looked at ways to improve the city's infrastructure and ability to maintain that infrastructure over time. There was a thoroughfare plan that's kind of identifying the purpose and function of your streets. A complete streets and non-motorized plan, which looks at how all users of our roads can function on our roads, not just vehicles. That included a traffic calming study, so there's sort of a menu of traffic calming items in there for streets where we may find that people are moving through a little too vigorously, particularly side streets. There's a road maintenance framework and a water and sewer framework, and then a green infrastructure and flood prevention section, which also identifies some elements that could help alleviate some of our stormwater problems and give us a little bit of an assist to the hard infrastructure that we have under the ground. There was a parking component as well that provides a framework for reviewing and potentially revising the city's parking standards based on whatever the study finds. There is a sustainability and resiliency plan that builds on the recently adopted sustainability framework, which was developed by the Sustainability Committee known as Clausen Naturally. And then this one kind of takes that framework and develops more concrete strategies for improving the city's environmental, economic, and social sustainability and resiliency in the face of future challenges. There was also some study of some particular corridors. We looked at, on our zoning map, they're called the BRD districts, Business Renewal District, is what that stands for. One is in South Main, right near the line with Royal Oak. That was one of the ones that was reviewed. And then the BRD2 district is on North Crooks and West Maple. That was also looked at. We looked at the North Main corridor, as well as the mixed-use 1 future land use category that was established in the 2018 master plan for West 14 Mile Road. And we came up with some kind of guiding principles for future review of those areas and a few action items around that. And that is a very brief summary of what this master plan update is all about. If you have any questions, I'm happy to address them.
So I have just a question. Regularly throughout all the documents presented, there's the term "not inconsistent." Can you explain that? It seems, well, it is a double negative, right?
Yeah, so that's the language that the county uses for every master plan they review that they find to be essentially compatible with what they're seeing in the plans of neighboring communities. One of the things that the county is looking for in its review of master plans is that you are not sticking all of your most undesirable stuff right on the, the border with your neighboring community. And then they're also looking at your neighboring communities to make sure they're not doing that to you. So that's really what what they mean by not inconsistent. They're saying that we find that where you're talking about putting things, what you're planning to do at the borders of your community and on your thoroughfares is not inconsistent with what your neighbors are planning and what else is going on in the area. So they could just say consistent.
Right.
But they say not inconsistent instead.
But that makes sense. I appreciate that explanation. Thank you.
Could you explain the traffic calming effect that you're looking for, I believe on 14 Mile?
That is part of the DDA master plan. But there is essentially a call in the DDA master plan, which is the next item on your agenda, to study 14 Mile in downtown and the North Main corridor for potential changes to the configuration of those roadways. That could involve the removal of lanes. It may also not involve that. It's in there for study for a reason, because we don't necessarily know what we necessarily want to do with it at this point. But that would be one of the effects of making changes like that to 14 Mile would be to slow things down, or North Main for that matter. But the traffic calming framework that we have in this plan actually would work on any street in town. So, for instance, if you have a through street that goes from one of your thoroughfares to another, and you find that there's a lot of cut-through traffic on that, and it is becoming a nuisance for the people who live on that street, you could look at some of the things that we have in this plan as potential solutions to alleviate that problem for those local residents. And that could be anything from narrowing certain intersections to, kind of the conventional speed hump, which is what people usually think of when they think of traffic calming, but it could be a lot of other different things too. And we kind of provided a catalog of them in the plan.
And we have a lot of people who would love to call and get those implemented on their streets.
Sure,
For
yes, I'm sure.
Any other questions? Nick, do you have anything you'd like to throw in on this?
No, I'm just excited that we're at this point. It's been a long process. I know the planning commission's worked really hard to get to this point. And just to kind of piggyback off what Mayor Pro Tem mentioned about the not inconsistent, I first read that and had to take a little walk around City Hall before I realized what exactly they meant by not inconsistent. So it is confusing the way they word it, but at the end of the day, we got the green light. So just excited to start implementing some of these action items.
Great, thank you. Okay, no other questions? Let's have a roll call, please. Thank you, Joe.
Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Mayor Milan,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Moffett,
Yes.
Thank you. We've just adopted our master plan, and we will move on to our next item, which is item 9B, which is also a consideration of approving the adoption of the downtown Clausen master plan.
I move that the downtown Clausen master plan be adopted as presented.
Support.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Madam Mayor. The DDA approved the draft downtown master plan in July 2024 and forwarded it to the Planning Commission. During the August 13th, 2024 Planning Commission meeting, the Planning Commission approved and forwarded the master plan to the City Council to authorize distribution of the plan for compliance with the required 63-day public hearing period. Due to the proximity of the city master plan and the downtown master plan, we decided to execute the public hearings at the same time to mitigate confusion. The public hearing period also ended on May 16th, 2025, and the city did not receive any comments regarding the proposed plan. During the May 27th, 2025 Planning Commission meeting, the downtown master plan was adopted by the commission and recommends that the city council adopts the plan as presented, and Joe is still here with us today to discuss the plan.
Thank you. Welcome back.
It's been so long.
Right?
Yes, so the last Clausen downtown plan was adopted in 2016. So it's been some time. That was actually a plan that received an award from the Michigan Association of Planning. The update had a few narrow areas of focus. Again, we started with a public engagement process. There was a survey and an open house. There was an online participation option for that open house as well, which is actually how we got most of our participation in that open house. Again, those results are summarized in the plan and included in full in the appendix. The plan updates the downtown assessment from 2016, which is kind of a granular walkabout in downtown where we look at everything from the dumpster enclosures to parking to driveways to all of it, really. Building facades, what's happening in our vacant lots and our vacant buildings. And kind of provides a little menu of potential things that we could do to improve what needs to be improved and preserve what's working well. It includes a public art framework, which is conceptualized to start downtown with the potential to expand to the rest of the city if appropriate. And that talks about everything from how you might approve public art to how you might kind of create a collaborative process to put more public art out there in your community, and also funding. It really kind of runs the gamut of all the different aspects that you would need to study if you were establishing a public art program. And then, as we were just talking about, it does provide for the review and study of 14 Mile and North Main with an eye to potential future improvements. Again, we don't necessarily know exactly what those might look like. There are some conceptual renderings in the plan. But the idea is to study it and see what could be done to improve primarily safety in those areas. And then we also updated the implementation section of the plan with additional action items beyond what was included in the last plan. And those are very concrete things that can be looked at by the city. Some of them are zoning items that the Planning Commission might look at and then send your way, and other things might be more capital improvement focused. Again, if you have any questions, I'm very happy to answer them.
No questions? Okay, well, you did such a great job. We have no questions. Thanks again for your time this evening.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
May we have a roll call, please?
Mayor Milan,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Moffett,
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Thank you. We've just approved our downtown Clausen master plan. And we move on to item 9C. Item 9C is consideration of a resolution requesting the 2025 West Nile virus prevention reimbursement from the Oakland County West Nile Virus Fund for the purchase of West Nile larvicide tablets.
I move the resolution requesting reimbursement from the Oakland County West Nile Virus Fund for the purchase of West Nile virus larviticide tablets be approved as presented.
Support.
Thank you. The Oakland County Board of Commissioners allocated funds to assist all Oakland County communities in a proactive program to eliminate the spread of the West Nile virus. The resolution is necessary to receive reimbursement from the Oakland County West Nile Virus Fund. Every year, the city spends approximately $5,000 on West Nile prevention, and this year that amount was $4,915.70. Oakland County will reimburse the city $1,395.95 out of the eligible expenditures for West Nile prevention. The deadline for the resolution to be submitted to Oakland County is June 13th, 2025.
I have a question. What is actually the process? How is this administered? Just curious. I have an idea,
DPW
but I'm curious.
Superintendent Trevor Zablocki is here and can shed some light on that one.
Hi, Trevor. Thanks for joining us.
Good evening. It's pretty simple. We put tablets in all the catch basins.
That's it?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And what it does is it causes those eggs not to hatch.
How many do you think you put in? Just curious.
$5,000 worth.
Yeah, but what does that mean? Are they like 10
what
cents
is
a piece?
it?
Are they a dollar?
5 tons,
So-
5 pounds?
What we do is all of the city-owned catch basins get dosed, is what it's called. And then if we have any left over, we try to hit like private catch basins as well. So parking lots, basically parking lots.
Interesting.
And
I mean,
then
yeah.
we do that every year.
Okay. I know it's something we did every year. I think I never thought about what it actually was. I don't know if it was a spray, but that doesn't make sense, so.
No, it's just a little tablet that drops in there.
Okay, very interesting. Any other questions for anyone? Okay, thank you, Trevor.
Yep.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Moffett,
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Mayor Milan.
Yes. We have just approved a request for reimbursement from the Oakland County West Nile Virus Fund for the purchase of our West Nile larvicide tablets. And we will move to the next item, which is item 9D. Item 9D is consideration of the agreement between the City of Clawson and Southeast Michigan Council of Governments for participation in the 2025 Road Safety Audit Program.
I move to approve the agreement between the City of Clawson and SEMCOG for participation in the 2025 Road Safety Audit Program.
Support.
Thank you. Nick?
Thank you. In February, the city applied for a SEMCOG grant to conduct a road safety audit, also known as an RSA, on 14 Mile Road between Crooks and Rochester Roads. The RSA program funds expert multidisciplinary reviews by a team of third-party consultants to identify road safety improvements, especially for vulnerable users like pedestrians and cyclists. SEMCOG recently approved Clawson's RSA project for 2025. The total project cost is $25,470.50, with 80% funded by SEMCOG. The city, if approved, will contribute a 20% local match of $5,094.10, payable after the consultant's final invoice and project completion.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, thank you, Nick. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Mayor Milan,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Moffett,
Yes.
Thank you. We have just approved the agreement between the City of Clawson and SEMCOG for participation in the 2025 Road Safety Audit Program. Moving to item 9F, or 9E, we have consideration of approving a resolution establishing authorized signatures for any and all banking transactions with Diversified Members Credit Union, AKA DMCU, on behalf of the City of Clawson.
I move the resolution designated by the city manager, city clerk, city treasurer, and finance director for the positions for the City of Clawson, which are authorized signatories for all bank transactions with Diversified Members Credit Union, be approved in addition to the provision of requiring 2 signatures as outlined in the memo from finance director Mark Pollack.
Support.
Any questions? Nick, do you have anything for us on that?
I was just going to recap the memo, but it's essentially allowing the city to do business with DMCU and setting four signers for the bank, and we do need a minimum of 2, but by having the 4 in the initial resolution, it's required for any city transaction to have 2 on there. And so the resolution could have been a little more clear, but it's a standard that we have regardless. But the clarity certainly helps.
And it's always good to have the positions versus names.
That's
so.
correct. We've learned from experience.
And the 4 is essential because we have people who are out of office sometimes, so that ensures that you always have, generally can always have 2. Okay.
So this is a new relationship, I assume, with your first side?
Yes.
Awesome.
Okay.
And this is just to allow us to do business there. There's nothing that I'm aware of in the immediate, but it's to explore potentially investing with DMCU and potential future plans to bank with them.
They're a great supporter of our community. They participate in
Absolutely.
everything we do, pretty much, so that's nice. Oh, may we have a roll call, please?
Mayor Milan,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Moffett,
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Thank you. We have agreed, as previously noted, on the 4 signatories for DMCU moving forward. Thank you. Next up, we have item 9F, which is consideration of a joint workshop with the Planning Commission to discuss an ordinance to govern short-term rentals.
I move to schedule a joint workshop with the Planning Commission for June 18th to discuss short-term rental ordinances. We had to pick a date, so.
So you described one of the dates that we did. I mean,
We have to, if there's support, we can discuss.
support.
I'm out of town on June 11th. That is why I picked the 18th.
That works.
I don't think I can do the 18th.
So during the Planning Commission meeting, they were eager to get a joint workshop scheduled so we don't waste any more time on this topic. So they recommended 2 dates. If those dates don't work with City Council, I'm sure that there's a workshop date that can be set that works for the 3 of you and hopefully the other council member, and can bring it back to the Planning Commission if a date is scheduled.
Yeah, sorry, I can't do the 18th.
So we would vote no, and they would have to propose 2 new dates.
Correct, or the City Council can propose dates as well, but if you'd rather kick it back to the Planning Commission, we can have it on their agenda for next Tuesday as well.
Yeah, we need dates that's good for them as
Yeah.
well. So if they want to suggest some additional dates, and I just, just as an FYI, so I've been doing a lot of traveling for work, and I try and schedule my travel for work on non-council weeks. And so, yeah.
That, if I could maybe recommend, if we look at having the workshop before a regular council meeting or something like that, that way people's Tuesdays are usually booked up for a city meeting.
The only concern about before a council meeting is the public, we want to provide as much time as the public wants to speak about it. And so we don't want any kind of time constraint with having to start the meeting. So a non-planning commission and a non-council day is probably best so that we can just talk all night about it if we want, or the community can come and speak on it as much as possible, so.
I'd also like us to have enough time to speak about it. I think we've kicked this back and forth so many times. I think it's really important that we have a dialogue that gets to continue and hopefully, come to fruition on it instead of putting it on pause to start over another day. So I do think allotting more time is really important for all of us. So was Planning Commission intending to keep it on a Wednesday because Wednesday works best for Planning Commission members? Since seeing a couple Planning Commission members in the audience, or Nick, maybe you could answer that? There's
That
no
was just
magic
a
to
date that
Wednesday?
they selected, I think.
Well, because Tuesdays are booked up with, like, one Tuesday's council, then it's planning commission and council and planning commission. So Tuesdays are kind of booked days as they are, right?
Right, and the other thing we do have to consider, unfortunately, is that the summer, there's a lot of folks in and out of town too, and so it might be difficult to get every member of each board there. So I think it's just trying to maximize attendance so everyone can participate and feel that they've shared their perspective.
Is it possible to shoot for a Monday in June? And also, not too far out so that we don't get into the 4th of July stuff that starts happening, like the last week of June? If it's possible, if we could do one of the first 3 weeks in June?
During the Planning
Are you
Commission meeting,
gone?
we can have them pose different dates and times as well than just Wednesdays.
How about you, Do you have a?
I'm fairly flexible at this point.
So dates to take back potentially to the planning commission would be actually that whole, wait a minute, the 23rd, which is a Monday. And then the next week is 4th of July week, so people are going to be out of town probably that week. But we have the 23rd, the 24th would be a planning commission meeting, right?
Correct.
But there's the 23rd, the 25th, so I'll just all the numbers, the 23rd, the 25th, but there's that whole week potentially could be something that we look at.
Are you not available on the June 16th? I think it would be the 16th. Are you available then?
I am available on the 16th.
Because that gets us earlier, and then if there's any action items that planning needs, it allows them to get something on an agenda.
But I
prior to the
just
next
hate to pick a date without, like, asking the planning commission what days are good for them.
I mean, it's up to the city council. I mean, if we don't set a meeting date, we're just punting another week to decide.
What if we kick it back and give the planning commission 2 options, and then at their next meeting, they could pick one, and then it can just be scheduled?
So then the council would set either or date tonight. If the planning commission selects one, then we can have the workshop on that date that works for the majority.
So do we want to say the 16th and the 23rd to propose to them? Those are Mondays.
I'm fine with that.
And then they can pick, and then you would send out a schedule for
Yes.
that. Cool.
Okay, let's see. And if we have to punt again, we punt again, right? So, would you like to adjust your motion?
So we would have to roll call and vote
Oh, yeah.
no on what I proposed, and, yeah.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Moffett,
No.
Councilmember Anderson,
No.
Mayor Milan,
No. So we just said no to like 18th of June. Yes, Nick?
Would it be possible to add a time there? We didn't do it in the agenda item just because we weren't sure on timing. Typically, these meetings are obviously in the evening, but if you wanted to set 7 p.m. or 7:30, that way we have a time to go with.
7 works.
Let's set 7.
Yeah.
7 p.m.?
Do we need a motion? Or just a conversation?
Okay. Just make a
So,
motion.
Madam Pro Tem, if you could make a motion as far as what we're
Do we
looking.
need a motion for?
For all of it?
Yes.
Okay,
for
so
the
I
16th and the
move
23rd.
that the administration propose Monday, what do we say, Monday, June 23rd, or Monday, June
16?
16th, 7 PM meetings to the Planning Commission to discuss the short-term rental workshop.
The board.
Okay.
Yeah. So again, this will be presented to the planning commission during their meeting next Tuesday. Once we have direction from them, we'll send an email out to both boards and get the agenda and schedule set.
Okay, perfect.
We need to vote on it.
So we vote.
Wait, come on.
We have a motion and support, we need to vote.
Yes.
He looks busy. I'm just letting him finish. When you are.
Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Mayor Milan,
Yeah,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Moffett.
yes.
Thank you. Just, we're punting back to planning the dates of June 16th and the 23rd, 7 PM to hold a joint workshop. And then we're moving on to item number 9G, which is consideration of discussion regarding the miscellaneous concrete program for summer 2025.
I move to discuss the 2025 miscellaneous concrete program.
Support.
Nick?
All right, thank you, Mayor Milan. In October 2024, the City Council approved a bid with Luigi Fernandi and Sons Cement Company to execute the fall miscellaneous concrete program. The contractor has shared with the DPW leadership that they are willing to maintain the current rates we paid in 2024 for the summer 2025 program. Since this was bid last fall and the contractor is willing to maintain their prices, the administration is strongly recommending to modify the contract with Luigi Fernandi and Sons to save funding and timing. The scope of the project is still under review by the DPW, and in an effort to schedule the project timeline, we'd like to have a sense on where City Council stands on a proposed contract modification for the summer 2025 program. No action is required at this time. DPW Superintendent Trevor Zablocki will also be present if there are any questions. So again, we're still developing the plans here, but drafting the bid documents does take some time. So we just wanted to get a better sense from council if a contract mod would be something suitable for this year, since we bid it last year and they're willing to maintain those bid prices. So just a simple discussion is all we're looking for tonight.
So from my perspective, ordinance section 2-231, purchase or contracts exceeding $1,000 require bid notices. Especially given that the city is going to be potentially purchasing a lot of concrete we've got a bond to repair the roads. We're in a position to, build relationships with different concrete companies and have them buy for our business. And so I think it's really important to uphold the ordinance and go out to bid for it. I mean, we've prosecuted citizens for not complying with the ordinances, and I feel the administration needs to be held to the same standard. We need to keep up with the ordinance and do the bid process. It's my opinion.
So Trevor, what you're saying is Luigi, which was the lowest bidder for the last contract, has agreed to extend the contract for additional work at the same rates.
Correct.
So if we send it out for bid, Luigi may or may not be the lowest bidder next time. And the rates, even the lowest bidder next time, may be higher than
Maybe,
what
may not.
Luigi's presenting now.
We don't know until we bid. The reason I asked that this come in front of you is I didn't want to have this or that come in front of you at once. So I want to know how we're going to proceed moving forward to get the project going.
Sure.
If you want us to go out to bid, fine, we'll go out to bid. I'm not here advocating one or the other. To me, it makes sense to take the price that we have, but I'm not.
So right now, they've completed the one-year project.
Correct.
And they're looking for the next year. How much work are we looking for next year's miscellaneous concrete?
I mean, that kind of plays into this. We don't know how much work we can do till we know how we're going about this, because it's going to cost us money to go out to bid again. Therefore, that cuts into some of what we're going to do. So that's why I'm saying I just want to know how we're going to move forward so I know how to get the project started.
So I work for an engineering firm, and we start a project with a budget and a commitment and a purchase order, and they went through all the right hoops, and then things get added on to that, like in really interminably long periods sometimes, and it precludes them from having to go out for bid again because things just get added in to that original. Is that, I'm not trying to look for outside, is that something that would be applicable, our city attorney? Is that something that we could say, we gave them this packet of work before, we're giving them additional work, they're sticking with this price, therefore it's not really a new thing for them to go out to bid for? It's additional work. It's like a phase 2, phase 3. That's how we do it in our industry.
It operates a little differently in this context, Madam Mayor. I think Mayor Pro Tem Moffitt is correct with respect to competitive bidding. 2.231 does govern. However, 4 votes can do away with it pursuant to 2.208. Obviously, tonight that is an impossibility.
Well, tonight it's on for discussion only, correct?
Correct.
So, yeah.
Again, just, you're a purchaser, you're going to be buying a lot of concrete going forward. And so I think that we have some leverage as a purchasing agent to have, concrete companies want to work with us, want to gain our business. And so any vendor who says, if you don't go to bid, or if you go to bid, I'm going to raise your prices, it's, the bid's the bid, right?
No one has
They
said
didn't
that.
say that.
Right,
No
they
one
did
has
last
said
year
that.
though, right? Because that was the whole $50,000
No, that was a
thing.
different circumstance.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is I can't tell you that the lowest bid won't come cheaper. I can just tell you I'm comfortable with staying the same. The way things have gone, I would guess it's going to go up.
And we could get.
So it seems like
yeah.
it makes sense to me, but I'm not here to, you guys tell me to go out to bid, we'll go out to bid.
So if they're going to propose a different price once we go to bid, I mean, if they're saying the price is X'd and that's what we'll do it for, their price should not change when we bid it out. And if it does, I mean, that's a concern to me, is what I'm saying. And so there's their price. They may be the highest, they may be the lowest, but we need to be good consumers and looking at the market. Again, especially as a purchasing agent, you have a lot more leverage with all the work we have coming up. We're going to be buying a lot of concrete over the next couple of years.
It also there's also an issue, that their price is already out there. So if we said tonight, they're sticking with their price, therefore anyone else who may want to bid knows what their price is. The whole idea of bidding is, hopefully you don't know what everyone else is doing, and then people have a price that is true to them and good for you, right? Now we have what could be an uncompetitive bid for them, because we could have people who come in and undercut. And I just think that's a consideration too.
That's why I wanted to know what direction to go in. Like I said, I didn't want to go to bid or this price, because at that point, then it's unfair.
Yeah, the last thing we wanted to do is to present a contract modification when we're ready to go out and get the direction from council that we do need to go out for bid, and then we're again pouring concrete later in the year than we would have liked. So by the discussion tonight, I think we have a better idea of how to move forward and present this to engineering and can get this project rolling sooner instead of having to continue delay in it.
Well, as far as buying concrete, as we go forward with our massive infrastructure project, I don't believe we're going to buy concrete. We're going to hire contractors who in turn will buy concrete. Am I correct?
Yes, but it's just on a smaller scale of what we'll be doing.
Exactly.
It's
The
the
miscellaneous
same thing,
concrete
but-
project is literally a concrete project.
Yes.
Going forward with the infrastructure, it's not just concrete, it's a whole bunch of things rolled together, which will be handled by a contractor. I guess my point is
Yes, there'll
this.
be a contractor with
I don't know if we leverage
subcontractors.
one against the other. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I can't say either way, because if contractors know we are going to be spending money, yes, they're gonna wanna be friendly to us, knowing work's coming.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the same reason why with Hartwell, they kept keeping their prices low, because they knew work would come. It's probably the same reason Luigi is doing the same
Sure.
thing. That's all I'm saying.
Right. I mean, I think the pro tem is correct. If we don't put it out for bid, it's a no bid contract, which requires 4 votes out of 5. That's our ordinance as it exists.
And even if we had our other person here.
Well, exactly. First of all, we have to find that
We got
5th
another
person
issue, right?
to produce 4, I assume, Rennis?
4 would be sufficient.
Right.
4 votes,
I see, 4 votes, whether we have a 5th person present
whether you have a
or
5th
not.
present or not.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
So,
I know you've shown some skepticism in the past about no bid contracts.
it's our obligation, right? I mean, yeah.
No, the ordinance says, if your wisdom says, go no bid, 4 votes will get you. This council's not tied to bidding out work, but it's highly recommended.
Right, but right now, we only have 4 people.
Granted, but my point is,
Yeah.
4 out of 5 is hard to get. And we're missing, and I'm pretty sure there's some skepticism about awarding a no bid contract. So as much as I'm in favor of this, because they were the lowest bidder and they're extending the same rates, it's unlikely competitive bidding will get us a lower rate. Again, we're working probabilities here, but just business sense, unlikely. Again, this is the miscellaneous concrete project. It's not the infrastructure project per se.
Correct.
Concrete is concrete, but they're being bought in 2 totally different ways. So that said, you need direction tonight, basically, bid or no bid?
I think I got the direction, because if one person's gonna vote no on it, then we know where to go. That's fine.
That's where I'm
That's why
going
we
with this.
came up
I
to
know what
the
I'd
idea.
like, but do the votes exist to get that? I have my doubts. That's all.
I think there's wisdom in having doubts.
So I guess we're telling Mr. Zablosky to go
You don't
get.
tell me, I got
It's a
start bidding.
discussion.
It's
We're not
just a discussion,
telling
we don't have
Well,
to.
we're advising, are we?
He's just getting the vibe so he can move
I
forward.
think I got it.
So,
Done and done.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, we have item 9H, which is consideration of accepting the letter of resignation from Councilmember Matthew Binkowski.
I move to accept the resignation of Matthew Binkowski from the Clawson City Council.
Support.
Does anyone have a letter? Do you have a letter?
It was in the packet.
No, I know. I just wondered if someone wanted to read it, just for his, for him.
It just says, I resign.
I can't remember. I did read it, but,
It says.
well, all right, it said he resigned on Friday, right? Was it Friday, the 30th or
Saturday.
something like that? Oh, Saturday. The weekend was long. So do we have any comments, discussion on this? I'd like to tell Mr. Councilmember Binkowski, thank you for serving. It is not easy to do this, and whether you agree with someone a lot or a little, it still takes a lot out of your personal life. It is still difficult to have people who don't know you judge you, critique you, give you words of wisdom on information they don't actually have themselves, and then to come and show up week after week and do what you think you can do. And I do think he was working on something that was important to him, and I give him credit for taking his time out of his life to serve in this capacity, and wish him well moving forward.
So, but we need to also discuss, so we have an obligation, and I think you were going to talk about that, but according to the charter, we have an obligation, since we don't have an ordinance on how to fill the vacancy, we then have to come up with some sort of resolution, correct, Mr. Nushai?
Correct.
We have actions we need to take at this, because we have 30 days to fill. So we as a council need to discuss, in the absence of an ordinance, we need to sort of come up with a resolution of how we're going to fill the vacancy.
So why don't we address the motion on the table, which is to accept the resignation. Let's have a roll call vote on that, and then we'll have our conversation. How does that sound?
Mayor Pro Tem Moffett,
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Mayor Milan.
Yes. Thank you. We have officially accepted the resignation of Councilmember Matthew Binkowski. And now we are, why don't we just,
Make a motion perhaps to have a discussion with respect to the process of filling the vacancy, Madam Mayor.
thank you.
So I move that we discuss the process to fill the vacancy within the 30 days prescribed in the charter.
Support.
Nick, do you want to lead this? Run as
I'm happy to take. As Mayor Pro Tem indicated, obviously, the charter does address the need for having an ordinance. Some time ago, and this is now perhaps years in the making, but when the charter first initially took effect, there was a discussion by council with respect to the ordinance, but I don't believe anything came out of it. So therefore, we do not have an ordinance, and the Ordinance Review Committee has been taking all new ordinances systematically. We have not gotten to this one, obviously. But it's incumbent upon council to create, to vote and fill the vacancy within 30 days. This is a position that will be its own individual item on the ballot to fill the balance of the 2-year period come November.
So when people submit petitions, they could, so there's a bunch of seats open because of the revision of the charter, and then there'll be this seat. Could people submit petitions for both positions, or do they have to pick one or the other?
I think this, well, I'm going to reserve judgment on that one for a tad longer, and come next time, I'll give you some law on it, because that is not as straightforward an answer as one may expect, unfortunately.
So we'll need, we'll need clarity on that, because
But
that's,
for purposes of
that's another
today,
topic.
that's
All
a
right,
different topic.
Gotcha. I
Because we have
just,
to
as you
also
were
state-
talking, I was like, oh, wow.
It's
That's
a
a thing,
valid
right?
concern, it's a valid question.
Okay.
It just, we'll have to address that at a different time.
My understanding, this event occurred about 4 years ago, when the mayor at the time resigned.
Yes.
Opening up a seat in council. I don't believe petitions were required. Basically, it was applied for by various applicants. And of course, that process did not advance to council because the mayor returned. So I don't know that filling a vacant, again.
The new charter requires us to put it on the ballot, and that's why petitions are required. So we have to vote on how to fill it within 30 days for now until the election in November. And then the position has to be put on the ballot in November. So our responsibility is to fill it from now until November.
Right.
And I
But
spoke
my
with,
point is, what about now?
That's
Are we
what we're
talking about
discussing.
petitions? It takes time.
No, I'm talking about petitions. I was asking about petitions for
think
November
council-
when it's on the
Well,
ballot.
again, but
That's going to happen as a matter of law.
Right.
Right. Whereas I believe, and I think you're agreeing on two different planes, but Councilmember Anderson is talking about the process with respect to appointing now.
Correct, yeah.
Should we get petitions? Probably, it's your pleasure, but petition is not the right term because it's a legal term of art. I would say a process where you receive applications may make more sense.
yeah, so in other words, to get on the November ballot, you've got to get a petition, or
Yes.
20, 40, for this, that is not required, I do not believe. You just basically apply and then we vote.
And you
Right.
consider and vote. Well, you determine the process, whatever the process you may
And
determine.
then once we vote, that person is selected, do they serve only till November?
Yes.
So then, in this case, we will then have, well, technically, we have 2 seats up for reelection at this point, myself and Mr. We have 2 new seats that have been created, and this seat will then be filled for 2 or 4 years.
2 years, the balance of the term.
Okay, so then, it's just going theoretical, when the election occurs, you'll have 5 seats up, technically.
Yes.
4 of them will be for 4 years.
Yes.
1 of them will be for 2 years.
Well,
Who gets the 4 years and who gets the 2 years will be based on the number of votes obtained.
Yeah, there's one slight change in that line of thinking, because there's going to be 2 positions, if you recall from the charter, there's one position on the charter that will only get 2-year term.
Yes.
So there'll be 2 positions for 2-year terms, but one set that you just articulated with 1 2-year term position will be in descending order by way of like total number of votes.
Okay.
Minus the mayor's position. And then there's going to be the seat that is vacated that we're talking about today, which will be a 2-year term, and that will be its own seat,
Yes.
separate and distinct. So for that seat, I imagine, and again, Mayor Pro Tem, I'm going to give you some law on it to make sure that we're operating squarely within the bounds, but I imagine it's going to be its own seat, its own application pool, because that's how we do, elections, period, as a matter of course.
I think we sat through this once, and, the whole idea of the Charter Commission was to make sure things like this didn't happen, and yet here we are. And not putting blame on anybody, it's just here we are, who would have thought, right? We're going to do this again. I think, I don't know what the easy answer is to any of this. I think there isn't one. I just know that I did speak with Councilmember Shepherd this afternoon. He can barely speak, and what he did articulate to me well, though, was that he would really prefer that we not make any decisions without him, that he'd like to weigh in on this, and I think it's really important that we allow him to weigh in anyways before we make a decision. But I do think we can at least come up with what we might like to see happen between now and the next time we can meet. And if we have to call a special meeting, he was willing to do that as well, once he's feeling better and able to participate a little better. So I know I personally received many texts today, many emails, and a couple phone calls with people who have ideas of whom they would like to see sit up here with us for the next 5 or 6 months. And I think everyone, I don't know, I don't want to be where we were a couple of years ago. I don't want to deal with what we dealt with a couple of years ago. It was really unpleasant for the community, not just for those of us who are sitting here dealing with it. So I'd like us to be very thoughtful and pragmatic in what we're doing and to understand the ramifications, well, not the ramifications. I would like us to be able to understand what's allowed, what is not allowed. The charter stated that if you run for a new office, at this point, you don't have to relinquish your seat in order to do so, and that is good for council and also for all boards and commissions.
That's correct.
That's correct, right? So let's say there's someone on a board or commission currently that would be our ideal candidate to fill in a seat here. Does that person have to resign their position on a board? They could serve dual?
Oh, no.
Okay.
Once appointed, they would resign. They don't have to resign during the consideration period, ma'am.
Oh, no, not the consideration period,
Yeah,
if
sorry.
actually selected.
No,
But
if selected, yes.
it would not be possible for someone to serve on zoning and city council at the same time?
Correct.
Okay. All right, good to know. And then what other questions? I'm not sure you got them all, too.
Well, we have an obligation to fill the seat in 30 days, according to the charter. And so when I totally respect Councilmember Shepherd's desire to be part of the process. However, I think that perhaps we should start soliciting applications of who's interested so that when he can speak again, and keeping in mind, I'm out of town next week, so special meeting's not gonna happen. I can't attend the special meeting next week. I'll be back on Thursday. We could do something Thursday night. But if we were to solicit applications now, then that postures us with a whole pool of people who are interested, so we know what our candidate pool is. And then we could, as a, even at the next council meeting, then we could look, have that candidate pool presented to us and then decide how we're going to select from that pool. But I think sooner than later, asking people who are interested to formally, and I don't know if we would have the city clerk, I'm looking at Mr. Whoever you are, I look at, that we would have a city clerk come up with some sort of application form so that we would know who's really interested, the communities like this person and that person, whatever, we know who's really interested and willing to commit the time to it, and then we could, in a educated manner, discuss who our candidates are and move forward from there. Because we got, so 30 days from the date of his resignation or from the date we accepted it?
You accepted.
So from today.
So we've got
So
two more
1, 2,
meetings.
3, 4. Yeah, we got till the end of the first week of July, right? Which is,
Well, without having the calendar in front of me, the
you have
way
a phone.
We have a no phone policy. Hello.
They're usually toxic for purposes of these, but, ma'am, and the way we calculate time is we begin on the next day, so technically it doesn't start today, it starts tomorrow.
Okay.
So 30 days from tomorrow, so I imagine that covers 2 meetings plus.
Yes.
Right, right.
Plus whatever
So, yeah,
special
so
meeting.
having that candidate pool would give us, so we could have it all submitted as part of the packet, and we could see who's out there, and then we could talk about how we're going to, in the next meeting, and then the final meeting, perhaps select who it is, and then we're in the timeline. But we just need to be very respectful of the timeline.
Yeah, we need to get applications now.
I agree.
So when, years ago, when Debbie Woolley had to resign to run for mayor, they took applications and then held interviews. And I remember that because
But they chose not to fill it. They chose
not
to fly in
fill
the
it
face of it, right?
Because they didn't have to, right? They decided it was September or whenever it was, August, September, and they decided they would just not fill the seat until after the election. But we could do that. It's a similar process because I personally, I would want to interview people, not take a resume. I would not want to take, people present differently. Like we think we know everyone, but I would like to give everyone an opportunity who's interested to have a conversation and see how they interact with us, because honestly, the most important thing to me is someone who is not coming in with preconceived stuff and is going to just want to kind of work with us and pick up and move along. I think that's what we need for the community. I think I hope that's what people are going to look for in November. They're looking for people who are uniters and not dividers, and I think that's what we need to look for to fill this seat. But I would suggest taking resumes or
Applications.
But what are we going to say in an application?
Well, I mean, the city clerk could, and it could be something similar to, we have applications for board positions, so it could be the exact same thing, only it's for, because that gives all, like, why do you want to do it, how long have you been a resident, what were you bringing to the table, all that kind of stuff.
Precisely.
So, if we were to ask that applications be, I hate to do things on Friday the 13th, but it is the Friday before the next council meeting, so maybe we say the 12th. No, we can do the 13th.
I imagine.
Yeah.
Nick?
Yeah, I was just going to touch on a few things there. So I think it'd be appropriate to use the exact same form we do for the board and commissions, just because everything's there. It's the same information, and then request a resume as well, if that's what the council decides to do. If the council wants to have all of the applications presented to them during the June 17th meeting, we would probably need a deadline of Thursday, June 12th at noon at the latest. Just that way we can have time to put the packet together and present it in a proper format. So that would be the timeline recommendation from us, but that's obviously up to council.
And then where would we, if we were to do that, where would we, we would post it on all our social medias, we would post it on the website, we would send out owls and smoke signals and ravens and everything that we can think of to get the word out, right?
Correct. essentially, I mean, unfortunately, social media is the best channel to reach people in the community. There's not really anything hard
Like
copy we can do.
newspapers anymore, right, yeah.
Will it
So-
make a Friday, excuse me, I'm sorry, I did that. Would it make a Friday, you know, the notification that goes out, the joint the joint newsletter, sorry, I couldn't say that.
Yes, there is one going out this Friday, June 6th. We can
we go.
include that in there.
All right, so I make a motion that we direct the administration to solicit.
We have a motion.
I'm
Oh,
sorry, I apologize. We make it as an amendment, ma'am. There's a motion on
Oh,
the
so,
table.
all right, so I amend the motion to direct the administration to solicit and collect applications of those interested in filling the open seat with a due date of June 12th at noon for said applications for purposes of including it in the packet. I don't want to go on too much, but
Good enough.
that's, okay.
Is there a second?
Second. Support.
That was so enthusiastic. Any other comments?
So just
Benny?
for council's awareness, we will timestamp the applications, just that way you know when they
Nice.
come in. That way, if we get one after 12 o'clock noon on Thursday, it's clear that it was received after that time frame.
Cool.
Okay, roll call, please, Vince.
Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Mayor Milan,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Moffett,
Yes.
Okay, I think what we agreed to was to request that people who are interested in serving in this vacant city council seat for the remainder of this term, which would be until November for the election, would submit applications to the city clerk by
June 12th at noon.
June 12th at noon. And then we will have those, do those have to be made public to everyone?
Yes.
Yes, okay. I'm not saying it's bad, I just didn't know.
We'll of course watermark personal information like phone numbers and stuff for the council packet, but we'll provide the full applications to you to touch
Yeah.
base with the applicants. And then we'll get the notification out first thing tomorrow morning. I think by noon, we'll give 8 days, so more than a week. We'll do it as soon as we can in the morning, but it's not going to be out tonight by any stretch of the imagination, so.
So the process of interviewing, what does that look like?
I mean, it'll be, well, either here or next door, but it'll be obviously pursuant to the OMA, we have to do it publicly, so it'll have to be done before you.
So next meeting, we would perhaps narrow it down to 3 or 4 candidates or something like that, and then schedule open interviews. Because if we get 100, we can't interview everyone. So depending on how many people we have applicants, we would, at the next meeting, decide how many people we want to interview for the position and go from there.
Yes, ma'am. I imagine that makes sense for council to decide and to determine at the next meeting. And then also, of course, once you make that determination, the next determination will be, you know, questions that you prepare in order to keep it fair, as council has done in the
Sure.
past. Make sure that each asks the same question going forward for each applicant.
Sounds good?
I feel like a lot of that should be defined too and not arbitrary, so that it doesn't seem like there's an unfair advantage to any one person over another. Not that there could be, but I feel like there could be an appearance of that.
Could we ask the attorney to have a list of appropriate questions drafted and presented at the next council meeting? And then we could do, like, if you ever go to a panel interview, like, one person, there's like 10 questions and everyone asks one of the questions to all the candidates, 10's maybe a lot, but whatever, that we have that formalized.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Happy to do it.
Okay.
So the charter demands that we fill the position in 30 days. Does not define how we do that. So we're in uncharted waters here as to how we conduct this. I mean, what we're talking about is collect applications, set up interviews. Great in theory, painful in practice. It can be very long, tedious process.
It's the job, man.
I'm just saying, well, you wait till you get into it, we'll find out. If you have 20 applicants, you got a job on your hand.
Well, that's why I'm saying at the next council meeting, the topic is, we'll all have the applicants and we can decide how to proceed, whether we're going to interview them all or we're going to whittle it down.
I agree. That's the process. I think it's the proper way to do it. But you're on a 30-day clock. We're not in a 6-month clock here. So it's going to get a little ugly and some compromises will have to be made. The only alternative would be to shorten the process by throwing all the names in a hat and pulling one out. Again, that would not be in violation of the charter. For it does not dictate how we do. I'm not saying we do that. My point is, this journey we are taking could be long and arduous. Well, not long, just arduous. 30 days the most. I'm just warning the council where we can be going here.
I think we're all looking
Our
for,
obligation, yeah.
I think those of us who've lived through this learned some.
Yeah,
I
it's gonna be
think our
interesting.
goal is to keep it peaceful and to just find someone who's really willing to serve this community and represent well. I don't think that's going to be a really difficult thing. And if we have such a problem, to have 20 willing, good candidates to just sit and discuss, man, I'll take that over 3 that I don't want to have to sit on the dais with for the next 5 months. But I don't think we're going to have that problem at all. I think we're going to have people who want to serve here really genuinely want to serve. It's a sacrifice to do this. It is not, it's not for the faint. It's not for the weak of heart. And I think we're up to it. I do HR for a living. Susan does HR for a living in a different aspect. I think we can handle this. You're a great person. You ask good questions. Even the 8th graders like you. I read one of those cards that they gave you. They love you. You're funny. So I think we got
Mind you,
this.
it's for a 5-month term, by the way.
Pardon me?
It's a 5-month term,
Yeah.
so this could, just maybe keep that in mind too as we go forward.
You mean you don't want it to take 5 months for a 5-month term? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, well, we only have 30 days. We have
Right,
1
we have
month
an obligation to
for
do
a
it 30
5-month
days,
term,
so.
yes.
We get it.
So-
We get it. Well, it's going to be a work in progress, and we can do it. We've done worse things. I think we can do this, right? Okay, thank you for that conversation. Let's move on to the next item, which is unfinished business. Do we have any unfinished business? The answer is always no. Good answer. Next up, we have public comments for items not on the agenda. If you would like to speak for items that are not on the agenda, I'm going to ask that you approach the microphone. We will ask that we would appreciate if you give your name and address. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. The council administration will not engage you directly during your comments, but you please feel free to approach staff or council after the meeting should you have any questions or require some sort of a follow-up. Is there anyone who would like to speak to items that we have not yet discussed this evening? Good evening.
Good evening. How y'all doing tonight?
So good.
William Renshaw, 60 Florence. I told the council 2 years ago that there is corruption with the city attorney Rennis. Corruption costs us taxpayers money. Our city can't afford that, especially with more lawsuits to come. Rennis has been around too long, especially during the pandemic when they were having secret meetings at the restaurant downtown, behind everybody's backs. Rennis and Detective Tracy have been covering up for their alleged boyfriend, Ed Martin, for years. They were so corrupt, they tried charging me with trespassing. Wasted all that taxpayers' money for 2 years, but we won't go deeper into that pending litigation. Who and when will they start doing their jobs and enforcing city regulations correctly? If that's not going to happen, then we don't need a city council and attorney. Thank you.
Thank you. Is your shirt Brat Fest?
Brat Festival.
I like Brat Fest.
It's in
you.
Wisconsin at Johnsonville Brats.
Oh, that's fun.
Yep.
Thank you. Is there anyone else this evening?
Good. Hi, Jamie Gills, Takanochi. I just wanted to question, I know there was a lot of question about us not having a process to fill this seat. And it was kind of thrown out there that maybe the Charter Commission didn't do their job when they wrote the charter, so that we wouldn't be in this position again. I find that kind of offensive for those people that put that hard work in, especially since in the charter, they did set up something just for this. And they actually gave city council the job to come up with ordinances to make this process. So it is not the Charter Commission who didn't do their job. It's this council who had 17 months to create this process who didn't do their job.
Anyone else? Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor Milan. Good evening, Council. My name is Adam Duberstein. I live at 1229 Gordon Court here in Clawson. And I just wanted to recognize Joe, the city manager. He was so welcoming and kind. I just thought you all should know how great he was. I went down when I first moved here to drop off some paperwork, and he was phenomenal. I bumped into him at the council meeting a couple weeks ago. I've enjoyed going and watching the meetings since I moved here, and he gave me an application for to serve on a board or commission, which I thought was so gracious and kind of him. We had a wonderful conversation, and I just thought you should know that you've got a really, really good guy working for you. I'm not big on, I pay my taxes, but I'm not, like many people, I'm not a huge fan of it. But if you did have to give raise taxes, I would, totally support Joe's salary. So, he's was just phenomenal to interact with. So. Thought y'all should know. Thank you.
That's so nice. Thank you. We appreciate kind comments. Thank you very much.
I'm Darlene McDaniel. I live on Elmwood. I just want to vent. I hate the sycamore trees. First, I get bark all over my yard. In the winter, I get these balls that turn into fuzz, brown fuzz, and I spent an hour and a half vacuuming up the leaves Sunday. I'm 79 years old. It's not in my yard. I hate them. Go down Elmwood or go down Langley, and I bet any of you, if you lived on those streets, you would go, oh my gosh, it's horrible. And I know it's because we had a very cool and wet spring. They have a fungus. The only thing I'm very sad about is I wish the fungus would kill them. But they say by the end of June, they'll be beautiful again. So I just wanted to vent. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Councilmember Shepherd is not here to talk to you about trees. I think he doesn't like them either, right? The sycamores. Is there anyone else? Okay, then we're going to close public comment and move on to the next item, which is our city clerk's report. Mr. Smith, do you have a city clerk's report for us this evening?
I have nothing for you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you for being here this evening. You've done a phenomenal job as usual. Next up, we have our city attorney's report. Mr. Newshine?
Nothing this evening, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for showing up as well. Also a phenomenal job. And then let's move to our city manager's report. Nick?
I do have something. I apologize.
Yay.
Rogue continues moving forward with the CCTV program. They have completed 54% of the city at large. There is an interactive map on the city website that can be found under the Department of Public Works webpage titled Cleaning and Televising Sewers, where residents can see where work is currently being done and also learn more about the program itself. This Saturday, June 7th, is also the DPW open house from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. noon. The DPW is located at 635 West Elmwood across from Clawson Park. Stop by and see the facility, meet the crew, and check out their equipment. At the event, there will also be a Sakura recycling drop-off for old electronics, household hazardous waste materials, and any paper shredding. This weekend, we also have the citywide garage sale Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. There is also an interactive map on the website and a list of properties that have registered for the event. You can access this webpage from the City of Clawson website at the top banner. The 2025 Summer Reading Program at the library will begin June 12th and will be open to children, teens, and adults with reading challenges, fun and educational programs, and prizes for book lovers of all ages. We hope you can join the library for another summer filled with reading. Also coming up is the Friends of the Library Summer Concert at the Gazebo, which is Monday, June 16th at 7 p.m. Olivia Van Gore is an award-winning jazz vocalist based in Detroit. Her music is a mix of great American songbook, jazz, and blues standards and originals. So please make sure to stop by the library for that event. Additionally, I do want to add that earlier today, we shared on our website and social media pages that MDOT, the Michigan Department of Transportation, is requesting public feedback on the HOV lanes on I-75. And so that survey can be found via our social media channel or website, just on our front page. I'm fairly confident that a number of folks will have an opinion on the HOV lanes that they implemented on 75. And then I did just want to reiterate the consumer's contact information that was shared earlier today for the upcoming project. The email address is spelled out for Cities Pipeline at cmsenergy.com, and the phone number is 248-433-5780. And that concludes my report, unless there are any questions.
I have a question.
Ready for them.
So the presentation that they gave, that you shared, was not part of the packet. Is that going to be in the minutes?
Oh, we're going to include that in the minutes as well as the flyer that was
Cool.
there as well.
That's all.
So the CCTV project for the pipes, you say it's
54% complete.
done?
Yes.
Do they anticipate it'll be done this season? By fall, in other words?
I don't want to say 100% confident, but they have 2 crews going right now. I know that it's a key project to get completed to plan out the rest of our infrastructure projects. At this rate, I imagine we should be done, by the end of summer at the latest,
Okay.
barring anything major.
And as I recall, the number one project, or sequentially number one, was the Elmwood by Crooks. When do they anticipate beginning that?
AEW, our engineers, currently drafting the plans and bid documents for that. And so I don't know the exact timeline for when we're going to be going out for bid, but the project will likely be starting in early July after the 4th of July.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Nick. Let's have our council comments. Mayor Pro Tem?
I guess I would just like to take this opportunity to also thank Councilmember Binkowski for his service. It's a tough and strange hobby, and I appreciate everything that he did and brought to the table, and I wish him all the happiness in his next adventure.
Nice. Councilmember Anderson?
I agree. I wish Councilmember Binkowski well. And thank you.
I would like to give a shout out to our own Vince Smith and some members of DPW and administration for putting on a really nice Memorial Day event. Thank you so much for coordinating that for us. We had a great crowd and it was perfect weather. And Clausen should be proud of the things we do for our community that are respectful and honorable to those who've made sacrifices for all of us. So I just want to tell you that I really appreciated that, all that you did personally for that day. I'd also like to remind everyone that the farmers de Luminaire farms are at the market they're at the park on Sundays, like always, so go visit them on Sundays, every Sunday. And then we are also, we've had our second Saturday park market, and if you get a chance on Saturday morning, come downtown to the parking lot. We have some really great vendors. Had some challenging weather. This week was better than last. They won't be there this coming Saturday, but they'll be there the following, and they have some good things coming up for the rest of the summer. So get out early in the morning, go buy some bread and crafty things, and then maybe hit one of our restaurants up for a good brunch. Good way to start a weekend. And then I want to say congratulations to all the parents and the children, and I'm saying parents first because I'm going to guess most 17, 18-year-olds are not watching our city council meetings, but to all of those parents who had children graduate, the commencement was on Sunday night, and it was a really beautiful event, as always. And I would like to give just a little acknowledgement to the young lady who was the class president, who gave a speech that included a shout out to Little City with Big Heart. I think she called themselves the class of 2025, was class of 2025 with the big heart. Something to that effect, so that was like a connection to the city. And then she also made a pothole reference. I think she was referencing Broadacre, a Broadacre pothole. So I'm just laughing that we have our youth who are quite aware of not only our great tagline, but also the condition of our roads. So yay, good job for them for their public awareness, but it was really cute. And she did an excellent job speaking on behalf of her class. So other than that, thank you everyone for participating this evening. Go check our website out. We have a lot of activities at the senior center, a lot of activities at the library. Get your kids busy for the summer. You only have a few more weeks to go or so. And then those of you who just graduated, or the parents, just tell them we all say, please be careful, you're precious. Celebrate, but do it well. We care about you. So that's it.
I move we adjourn.
Support.
Roll call one more time, please.
Mayor Milan,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Moffitt,
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Thank you, and we are dismissed. Meeting adjourned. I have been freezing here the whole entire night. I tried to put my hand over my tea, but my tea is cold.
So used to sweating.
I know. I'm sitting here going, I'm going to die. I kept moving my feet to try and keep them warm.